I was watching a show and I like so deeply misunderstood the most like
you had like show embarrassment by yourself.
Like I've had like I have like a serious show embarrassment moment, like completely alone by myself.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like how deeply I misunderstood something.
I can't wait.
I feel like I've got an embarrassing story to start with. Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. This week, we're going to talk Emmys. The Emmys happened this week, and then you're going to get a barrage of special Baltimore Comic Con episodes, because tomorrow, Becky and I, or today is when the episode drops, Becky and I will be in Baltimore.
Why?
But we always like to start there. And Lily's back. Welcome back, Lily.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I missed a few eps there.
People missed you.
I'm always sad to miss. I miss you guys.
So many messages saying this show is one-third as good as it usually is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I apologize, but I'm back, which is what matters.
So we made fun of you, don't worry, in your absence.
No, I have no doubt. And I feel like my voice is just the right amount of hoarse.
Oh, yeah.
Me being away.
That's great. So let's start. Before we get into the Emmys, let's just talk about both. It seems we all have some embarrassing things to talk about. I'll tell you guys.
I'm sure I can come up with something.
I have a pretty good one. So over the summer, my daughters and I went on road trips with each of them in the spring and summer, which was a lot of fun. And when I was with my elder daughter, who has been on our show, she and I were talking about school, and I'm very on this thing about media literacy. Kids need media literacy. So I was talking about media literacy with her, and she's like, Dad, I know about media literacy. We learned it in class. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been preparing my own PowerPoint for you. She's like, no, conservative, liberal, right, left, bias, media bias. And I was like, wow, your school's really doing that? She said, yeah. And I said, you could have had me as a guest speaker. This is like one of my areas of expertise. Yeah. And she said, or I don't know what she said. But what
hold on. This is when Shai stopped listening and started
his brain, like the cartoon version is
the cartoon.
Now his brain left the building.
And
now he's living in a movie version of his life.
What I heard was, after I said you should have had me as a guest speaker, my daughter saying, oh yeah, my teacher wanted that, but I forgot to invite you. And I was like, oh, well. So then we go back to school night, and I'm there with, remember, there's like 6 kids in her class. There's 3 parents in the room, and I know 2 of them. So the teacher who teaches humanities is giving her little spiel, and she talks about media literacy, and I say, oh, yeah. I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you. Nama never told me you wanted me as a guest speaker.
Serves you right.
In front of the other parents. And she just looks at me like as if she didn't hear it, but just sort of nodded. Okay, cool. Great.
Tell me you double down.
Well, I was just like, if you ever need me, I'm here. She's like, all right. Now remember, this is a
she's like, who are you?
This is an area of the country where everybody's parent is a lawyer or a journalist or someone in government. They understand this concept. So now that I think back to the idea that I'm just offering this up is hilarious. So then I come back and I'm reporting on back to school night to the kids at dinner with Allie. And I say, and I told your teacher that I was so sorry because you never told me I was invited. And she says to me, Dad, I never told you that you were supposed to be invited. I told you that I told my teacher that you know stuff about media literacy.
And she still chose not to invite you.
She never asked me to invite you. You just heard that when I told you the story. So, yeah, this teacher now thinks I think I was invited as a guest speaker. I was not.
Well, you can guest speak on this podcast anytime. Once a week, in fact, you can guest speak on it.
So Becky, you had an embarrassing moment related.
I have it's like an embarrassing moment, but it was I was the only one to see this whole thing unfold because it only happened to me alone while watching a show. But it made me cringe so much when I figured out like that moment. I was like, oh my God, thank God I didn't try and explain this TV show to anyone, or thank God I wasn't talking to anyone about this TV show because, okay. So I started watching this very fun spy Netflix show called The Recruit. It was like I was having like a mom moment, or like I need something fun while I do the dishes. So watching The Recruit, I actually do recommend it if you just want like a fun sort of silly spy type show, right?
Sure. Okay. It's like a spy type thing.
Yeah, spy type thing. And the whole show, like the main premise of the show is that the CIA is being gray-mailed, or they buy this former CIA asset who's in prison. Okay, but she also physically sends a letter to the CIA gray-mailing them. But
What is gray mailing?
What's gray mailing? I'm sorry, we don't watch The Recruit.
Okay,
Shai works in this industry.
So here's the thing: they very clearly explain. They very clearly explain at the beginning of the show that like she is threatening to expose secrets, like CIA secrets, if they don't get her out of prison, right?
I think that's called blackmail.
No. They're like, this is gray mail. This is like the gray mail case, the gray mailing case. Like it's like a slightly different version.
You thought it was like another term for blackmail.
No, I thought it was the special CIA term for like receiving a piece of mail. Because it's like they get like a physical letter from her, but they're talking about how she's gray mailing them and the gray mailing case, and there's gray mailing, which is like very clearly explained. It's a type of blackmail. But in my head, I'm like,
but you're like, sending stuff sometimes through the mail is a felony.
By the way, I just want to show you guys
it's a
right
federal
now.
offense.
I just Googled,
and it was like 7.5 episodes in where I'm like,
I just Googled gray mail.
It's like blackmail, but not.
But I spelled it as a mail.
You spelled it wrong.
Yeah, I know. It's just George Clooney.
There's a lot of silver foxes on your screen now.
Uh-oh. Get Allie.
Well, that's just that. Yeah, look, it's what's his name? Sam Elliott. What's his name? Charming guy from Star Trek. You know what I'm talking about? Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
I don't think people call him by his first name, Christopher, but maybe his mom does.
But anyways, it was like this moment, like it wasn't like after the second episode where I'm like, oh, right, gray mailing. It's like blackmail, but about, this specific thing or whatever, these stakes or terms.
But what is gray mail?
The whole time, I just assumed that they were very
now that we know
referring to like receiving a physical piece of mail from.
Okay, but what is gray mail?
It's like blackmail.
Okay,
it's like adjacent to blackmail.
According to Wikipedia, it is the threatened revelation of state secrets in order to manipulate legal proceedings. Okay. Very specific.
Hey, but the reason I also thought it was called gray mail is because the show starts off
the envelopes are gray.
No, he's given a folder of things and they're like, read through all of these crazy letters and see if any of them are gray mail. So I also thought that it was like all these crazy letters are like known as the gray mail because they're like a little bit
like
crazy.
The red phone in the White House that.
Yeah, like the crazy letters. I thought it was like the crazy letter. So my
like
mind
the movie
was like,
Dear God with Greg Kinnear.
Like the letter referred to a crazy letter.
You did a lot of
like a blackmail
as an audience member of like a regular episode.
No, they very clearly explained to you what gray mail means.
Okay,
but I'm focused on the fact that he has like a folder of letters. But it was just
analog for you.
That's embarrassing. All right,
it's a fun show.
All right, let's talk about the Emmys, which are just not the same when I'm not in the audience or on the red carpet.
I was going to say.
Lurking behind the e-camera.
It's hard to care.
Before in LA. You couldn't have. It's too bad you couldn't have swung another trip.
So, all right. So, who is your favorite? Let's just start with I have a whole bunch of questions for you all that I have answered myself as well. Did anyone have a favorite winner? Mine was for sure Shogun. I love the show, but I also just like the idea of a really well thought out, beautifully done show that honored the existing material but elevated it. I loved all the actors in it. It was
Also,
just
in terms
fantastic.
of drama category, I think the acting was excellent. Who was it up against? Do we have a compare contrast here?
Yeah. I have the whole thing here. Let's see. It was up against The Crown, Fallout, The Gilded Age, The Morning Show, Mr. and Mrs. Sis, Slow Horses, and Three Body Problem. I don't watch most of those shows.
No one.
I've seen most of
They
those.
put Three Body Problems on there because they were like, we don't know what this is about, so we should use. We don't want to look bad because we don't want to look dumb. But
they're like, no one was able to finish
because we
this show.
also don't want it to look dumb.
Here's the thing, because it's about physics. If you admit you didn't finish the show, then you're like, oh, people think I'm not smart and I'm like not into physics. So they had to put it on. But I'm perfectly fine saying I don't find physics fun.
But they were like, we can't have it win because then what if it sucked? And when we look back, because no one understands that show.
But you don't want to go too far.
You don't want to go too far. I also don't think Fallout is a drama, Becky. That's like saying The Boys is a drama.
Wait. I'm sorry. As if I created the category.
Well, first of all, the categories is the whole thing.
I don't think it's a drama, Becky.
But those are the two categories.
You wrote up the categories and invented the nominees.
No, I mean Becky.
Do you think it's a variety special?
I think it's a comedy. I think it's more of it's horror comedy than it is.
Well, it's like saying The Boys. Is that a drama? No,
it's horror comedy.
It's satire, but it's a drama. There's
Boys is a drama.
Boys in the same category as Succession.
Fallout seems to be more.
Boys and Succession remind me of each other a lot.
Okay,
but yes, the part with all these categories is nuts. Either pick one thing that's the best TV show, like the best movie, like just decide is the best show. Is the best show going to be Shogun or is it going to be Hacks? Or The Bear or whatever, or have an overall best show. But these categories are, everyone criticizes them, so we don't need to go over it too much.
Keep going. Did you guys watch the whole show?
We watched a lot of it. My kids are getting into watching award shows, which is fun. They also want to watch the red carpet, which I find to be just one of the most. Being on it is fun, but the actual stuff that. And I admire the hosts.
Same question over and over again.
The hosts who do it, though, they work really hard. They know who they're talking to 99% of the time. They're very prepared. Like, that part, I'm incredibly impressed with. But I don't want to hear any of it. And I'm not interested in the fashion. I know a lot of people are.
But how were Eugene Levy and Dan Levy?
That was my next question. Wait, so did anyone else have a favorite show other than Shogun? Was that just me that should have won?
That should have won or that did win?
Like my favorite winner of the night was Shogun. I'm glad Shogun won awards. That made me happy.
No, I have my favorite winner of the night because I feel like it's so deeply deserved and could have very easily been overlooked, because of how big the show is overall. But I'm so happy Tina won for The Bear because I do think her character, her performance, her heart, everything is exceptional. And in a show that gets so much attention, and Jeremy Allen White is such a big presence, and they're big. I feel like she could have easily been washed out in the awards as being like, oh, she's not one of the as flashy stars of that show, but her, especially in the most recent season, going deeper with her story, I feel like really anchors that world even more. She's just phenomenal. And for me, that's it feels like such a deserved, exciting win. So that I'm happy something that. And
I think both her and Eben Moss Bacharach winning
super deserved.
Is also a function of how much that show spread out its investment in all the other characters between season 1 and season 2, which I don't know if that's why Io didn't win. But if you look at Sydney in season 1 and even season 3, but this is for their season 2. This is for season 2.
Yeah, but okay. So here's something that annoys me, and I know it annoys you too. Specifically, the episode Fishes was nominated. I think it won, right, for the best episode or something.
Oh, okay. My
don't think
Emmys
But
list is not
you and
that
I
deep.
agree that the actual
Forks
best
is.
episode of the season is
It's
Forks.
Forks. No, I
But
don't
you know what the
Jamie
proof
Lee
is?
Curtis
Obsessed
won
with
as a
Fishes,
guest
but it's
star,
Forks.
but I think Jamie Lee Curtis won as a guest, but I don't think Fishes itself won as an
But-
I
episode.
think it's like best director. I think it's like best director.
Well, Chris
for
Storer is
Fishes.
an amazing director.
Yeah, but he's directed. He's for Fishes, but Forks is the best episode.
But you know what? I think the proof that Forks is the best episode is that even Moss
he
Baccarat
wins
won.
exactly.
Because that's
exactly.
incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
and that
said
season-
my Forks family. He mentioned them.
That was great. He was
Oh,
so
did
gracious.
he? I didn't watch any of the
Yeah.
speeches.
That was really cool.
Yeah. He
Okay, so let's talk about the Levies. They made a point of talking about how to pronounce
their
name.
last name.
They
If
said,
we do well
he said,
tonight,
if we do
it's Dan Levy, and Eugene is like, and if we don't,
It's
my name
Martin.
is pronounced Martin Short.
So I love the two of them. I love that they talked about being actors playing hosts because, which I thought was it was a cool approach. Like everyone stresses over who should be the host, but if you just have a good actor play a host, then what's the difference?
It's really smart.
That's really funny.
And they were very
Jimmy
funny
Kimmel?
together, but there were no
Like
big.
been Jimmy Kimmel, or who is it?
Well, the year I went, it was Kenan Thompson. He was fine, but award hosts have now gotten really. People don't want the job anymore because they get skewered afterwards. So they
I think-
did
I
like a
think
very
what- I think-
lovable, safe job.
I think when everybody turned on hosts was when James Franco and Anne Hathaway hosted the Oscars,
Sure,
and then,
but-
like everybody turned on hosts after
Well, that's
that.
was
but
a
Anne
sweet
Hathaway tried so
spot.
hard, and James Franco just.
He's the worst. I mean, that's really
I mean, he like literally.
she didn't deserve
but-
that.
But she didn't. But
She didn't deserve that.
also, I think there was a sweet spot. I'm going to go on a limb and say I think the sweet spot is Ricky Gervais trashing everyone.
But I
the
think
audience?
I think they really hate that.
Yeah.
Like I think the people in the audience really hate
now
that.
that I've come through the other side of seeing like how just I don't know. I find like maybe this year has turned me a little bit sour on like Hollywood and how full of shit everybody is with their fucking like activism and all that. I think that it's made me a little bit like missing Ricky Gervais year where he just like torches them. And you
Well, he's
have
a Golden
sense of
Globes.
humor or you don't.
He does
right,
Golden
Golden
Globes.
Globe. Right, I guess, yeah. But what, to your point is, I think gone are those days. That's
For
not,
now.
for
Well,
now,
Nikki
yeah.
Glazer is going to be doing. What's she doing? Nikki Glazer has a big one.
The Golden.
Is she doing the Golden Globes? And she's a roaster. It'll be interesting, but she's not super famous. I mean, she's famous, but she's not like Ricky Gervais has had so much success. He can say
doesn't
whatever
give a
he
shit.
wants.
Right? No, yeah. Nikki still has to like get work and stuff.
Like I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
that she has the credibility.
She's
going to
host the Golden
The
Globes,
way
but
he
she
does.
is a roast master. So I hope they let her
she
do
says
her
some
thing.
mean shit. Like she's
She's very
she
funny.
can be really mean. She's
But
very,
you know who she doesn't say anything mean about? Taylor Swift.
no. She. I mean, in
We
fact,
said
she
she's
loves Taylor
mean.
Swift.
We didn't say she's dumb.
Not psychotic.
She's not dumb.
dumb.
She's not dumb.
Two different characters.
The I mean, is it weird that I still think, the best was, I mean, this is such a Gen X, whatever boomer thing to say.
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Billy
But young Billy
Crystal?
Crystal, not when he came back when he was old, but when he did those first few years,
That was the
The
greatest.
songs?
that was the best with the songs and the bits, and it was great.
Agreed.
Okay, speaking of favorite moments, did you have a favorite moment of the show?
No, I didn't watch the whole show.
I didn't
so I
watch
don't
it.
have.
Well, I didn't watch the whole show, but I
mean,
loved
didn't
Lisa
watch the
Colon
show.
Zayas
I read
winning for the
headlines
Bear.
about the show.
I
Okay,
love,
like you said, Tina winning for the Bears.
Tina
and
winning.
then
And then I feel like, of course.
Alex.
Alex Edelman.
it was very cool at that one.
What was he up against?
And he felt like
other
he felt
comedy
so
specials?
sincerely emotional and talking about the journey of getting there. And you really you do know that so many people in that room helped him get where he is with his special. And
Well, also, it feels
felt
so
very
new.
meaningful.
But it's 7 years that he's been working on it.
I know.
That's wild.
You know,
What
and
I
it
took
shows
away
the
from
real
his-
grit.
acceptance speech is like how deeply sad he is at the loss of his
It's really
friend who
sad.
he built the show with. And
Yeah.
but I was missing him maybe mentioning the insane uptick in anti-Semitism, considering that's what his.
But he doesn't talk about
show is
that
about.
ever. He doesn't.
I know.
He sort of lets the show speak for himself.
He lets
and
the show speak for it. He does not. He
Which you
doesn't
have to
reference it
respect,
outside of the show ever.
But
Never heard him once.
yeah. And Shai and I were talking about it right after the Emmys, and he was like, well, we all know his brother giving him shit privately for it. So
his brother's blowing up his phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Even though his brother, he posted something so beautiful and so proud of Alex, but like maybe behind the scenes.
Private, he's blowing his brother up.
Like, come on, man.
I mean, I would love to see the script dialogue of those two arguing. That would be the next show. That
They
would
look
be
like sibs that argue a lot, but are super, super close.
Yeah.
Love each other a lot.
Let's go to my other favorite moment was seeing Candice Bergen.
Oh, I heard that she was great.
She was just so lovely. She spoke really slow, but just a reminder of when you talk about trailblazers, when you talk about like Mary, like there's people like Mary Tyler Moore.
Did something happen to her?
I don't know. Maybe she's just old. I mean, but
What was
Mary,
Murphy Brown about? A newspaper?
it was
Network?
No,
it was about a reporter
news
at a
show,
network.
a reporter.
But it was
like
a
on network,
feminist.
though.
It was Mary Tyler. I mean, it was.
Okay, can I ask you a question about the
You
show?
have Mary Tyler Moore and you have Murphy Brown in terms of like some of the most important.
Okay, so Murphy Brown was on when I was really little, like really, really little. It was on at night
popular.
when I had to go to bed. So in my mind, and I want to know if this is true, did that show only take place at night? Like all of the news, was it like a night,
They were
like
evening
the
news shows,
nighttime
so-
shift?
They were an evening news show, yeah.
So there was a lot of afternoon, evening. Like it wasn't like Night Court, which was pretty much only at night, because there were some scenes and episodes at her house where Robert Pastorelli was the painter. He was so funny as her painter.
Right. Because so in my mind, it was almost like shows like Murphy Brown and Night Court were happening in real time relative to us.
Oh, okay.
They were like happening at night because it was nighttime.
So she
That was
won
such a- that was a cool-
5 Emmys and 2 Golden Globes for Murphy Brown.
Yeah. And
Pretty amazing.
her choice to have her character be a single mother, you guys maybe don't remember it.
I remember it was
I remember.
Such a big deal.
I remember.
It was so controversial. You had politicians. That's what she said. Dan Quayle attacked her. You had people attacking her on television. Like the absurdity of that. Right. Anyways, she's awesome. And she's great in so many things. Miss Congeniality, Boston Legal, right? Like she had Murphy Brown and then she had 100 other things she was perfection in. So she was great. Least favorite, the in-between sketches. I mean, it was awesome seeing Kathy Bates because she's awesome, but like in general, those sketches were real woofs. They were, I don't even remember what they sort of were. They were sort of some sort of nostalgic return. I don't know. It felt like a wax museum. It was a real bummer. All right. What about snubs? Always fun to talk about snubs. Who was snubbed? So this was snubbed, nominated, and didn't win, or not nominated at all.
Well, I agree with the one you wrote down. That's the one that's been really on my mind, and it just like it makes me so angry. It's like hard to. It just feels so lazy. Like I will let you talk about it because it's the one you wrote down.
So mine is that Stephen Colbert did not win, and that Jon Stewart won. Or not Jon Stewart, but the Daily Show one. I think it's absurd. They like and I like all those other.
Watch the Daily Show.
I love all the other hosts. The other hosts are really great. Desi Levick. It's a shame Roy Wood Jr. isn't. It should just be. It could have been those two hosting together. Like a Weekend Update or something. Yeah. I just think bringing Jon Stewart back was so lazy, and then to just throw the award at him and skip over Stephen Colbert, who is the smartest and most popular in late night, and kind of keeping that whole thing afloat is absurd.
I have another snub now that I'm thinking about this is I don't know how. It seems insane to me. How could, what's his name? Ryan Gosling not win for his SNL?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because
Beavis and Butthead.
it's not, but it's Beavis and Butthead, but it's also the alien encounter. It was like that he did,
is that the Aaron Brockovich one?
He did this engagement one, I think.
Oh, the engagement one is so funny.
One, like,
where every time the woman leaves the room, and he's like, I gotta get out of here.
Every single one of his sketches. Here's the thing, like, he brings it 110%. You have his total buy-in. Like, he is, and they write such funny ones for him.
He doesn't go over the top because he takes it so seriously that he's
no, but that's what I mean. Like full buy-in from him. Like he is like fully committed to the bits.
Even the one sketch that was kind of weird about the Cuban dog with the two Cuban guys. But the whole bit was just to basically talk about, like, to make a nod to Eva Mendes.
Like having a Cuban family.
But like, I just don't. I like him not being recognized for that is very
like as a guest star, on a show.
A guest star. I mean, it was such a. He's so funny, and I think like. But I don't feel like his comedy chops are recognized enough, and he's such a great
enough with John Oliver. Oh my god, I cannot with him.
Oh, you mean aside from the fact that
anti-Semitism
and the intellectual dishonesty by which he runs his show, that show is a once a week recorded show that is really built around one guy's political point of view versus SNL, which is what he was up against. Like, I mean, are you kidding me? Absolutely nonsense. What about some other? I mean, Hacks. I'm now watching the third season of Hacks, and I put it off for the longest time because
it brings it.
It's such a good show, and I feel like we're about halfway through. This season, we're really seeing Deborah Vance evolve. Like the last season, Ava really did. This season, she's more of an evolved person. But now we're seeing Deborah
payoff at the end of this season. It's done really well. They could have ended it at season 2 and just gotten out and been like, we made 2 perfect seasons of TV. We're done. The fact that they went back for a third, you're like, oh, I'm waiting for that. This is going to be that second season of Friday Night Lights that like is just the worst, and it's really well done. Like I give them a lot of credit. It's not easy to make a show that good.
I really also love the episode that I'm 2 episodes away from, but we just watched, is the one where they talk about her roast, and Caitlin Olsen roasts her.
Oh yeah, and
that was genius. Don't give away the ending. It was a genius episode. But she now has a new show.
To give away the ending to audiences that are listening to this.
Yeah,
I feel like Hacks has been out for a long time, Shai.
No, but that episode has a great anticipated ending. Like it's.
And I guess the Emmys are not for this season; it's for last season.
Yeah, must influence it though. It's very confusing. They really should make it very clear which are the list of shows that are eligible. Right,
because people were really upset that Matthew Perry wasn't in the in memoriam, but he was last year when he passed away.
Oh, sorry, and I should also talk about Reservation Dogs. Reservation Dogs is such a brilliant genius.
Yeah, I do feel like
it didn't get enough nominations.
It didn't get enough. Yeah, it didn't get enough.
True Detective, Jodie Foster got.
But that goes back to the opening joke of the Emmys, which is where we honor movie stars for being guests on streaming shows.
Guests on streaming shows. That's pretty funny. She's never won an Emmy, so I just feel like, okay, just like give her one because she's so good. But I don't know.
But she was so good in Night Country.
She was great.
She was
so good. She's just so good.
But Reservation Dogs, it's a shame that it's done its 4 years or 3 years. 3 years? How many years was it on? 3 years.
3.
And that'll be it. And it really should have won many times over. Yeah. Like it could have split. Like The Bear is awesome, but they're in the same league, in terms of.
I agree.
Did you guys watch any of Ripley? Which one best directing for limited?
I watched 5 minutes of Ripley, and it was. I thought it was going to be, first of all, about the movie Alien.
No,
then I was like, maybe it'll be a mystery. Ripley. Then it was just a guy walking up and down stairs, and I turned it off.
In black and white. What's his name? Adam Scott?
I don't know. Hot Priest.
Hot Priest?
Not Adam Scott. Adam Scott.
Andrew Scott.
Andrew
Scott.
Isn't it about amazing. Like the talented Mr. Ripley?
It's a version of the talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't get past him walking up and down the stairs.
I made it a few episodes And then Jose of all people was like, "Oh, so let's keep watching." And I was like, "I'm just gonna call it. I'm so bored. How are you watching this?" I was like, ugh. And I love Andrew Scott. He's amazing. Have you guys seen Baby Reindeer?
I was just about to ask, is anyone going to watch Baby Reindeer?
So
Everybody
let
who
me- let
recommends
me
it is
tell you-
like,
let me
it's
tell you-
really intense and upsetting. And I'm like, don't leave
I
with
don't
that.
know that I
That could be
like
one of those
watching
ones
it.
that Becky talks about where Becky is like, people just all say they saw it.
Yeah, this is
Although
gonna, or this
Allie
is
did
gonna
see
be,
it
said
and
it's
said
like
it was great.
traumatizing.
this is gonna be
Allie
one of
saw
the
it
ones
on her own.
Yeah.
where, right, because she doesn't happen. Yeah, she
And
needs.
What are the
to make
rules?
her-
What are the
Yeah,
rules?
what are the
She's
rules?
watching Selling Sunset. I will just say, when people said Baby Reindeer, the the shows that I thought of,
Reindeer games.
no, yes, Reindeer Games, but also Sweet Tooth, which is Sweet Tooth. Is that the one
It's about a baby reindeer.
about like a human reindeer hybrid?
Sure.
You know who recommended that to me? Josh Crew.
Yeah, no, Josh.
Yeah, and then
unacceptable.
after that, did you go watch 400 different Viking shows on his recommendation? Enough with that guy.
Josh.
Right? Come back to me when you have a real rec.
Although I will just say for Josh, because he hasn't been on the show yet recently, but he has to come on and say it. He has given me many text messages and verbal confirmations that Sanctuary was the recommendation of the year.
Well, mom and dad have some words about that.
I'm two and a
they
half
don't like it?
episodes in, man.
Oh my God.
You really got to commit because
Mom and dad were like, Lily, you're not going to believe what Shai recommended to us. He. It's terrible. And they were like, what is this show?
Are they watching it with
What
the
is
subtitles or the dubbing?
the
'Cause you
dubbing?
have to
I
watch
don't
it-
know. They were
you have to
like,
watch it with the
what in
subtitles.
God's name is Shai recommending? And I was like, I don't know. He said it was really good. And they were like,
it
"Oh,
definitely
geez, we
you
turned it off."
have to be willing. It's not like a typical American show. And so you kind of have to just like, even though it's on Netflix, you have to like let go
Lily,
of what you think is a typical.
I want you to know, Lily,
and,
though,
like,
in the
Like,
first
Lily,
episode, there is a scene where, as a hazing thing, the younger sumo wrestlers have to wipe the butt of the older sumo wrestler. How can you not want to see a show that does that?
I mean,
it's so gross.
Honestly.
It's so gross. Also, the little sumo wrestler just looks so hungry all the time.
Well, he has a great arc in the show. Just see, the show
tiny and
takes
so
place
hungry.
over a
Aren't they,
long
like,
period of time.
humongous? What do you
No,
mean?
some
he was
of them
hungry
are
all the
really
time?
small.
No,
'cause they
you
don't
do
get
not.
enough food
Sumo is
because the
not
big
by
ones
weight.
don't-
It's by strength.
The big guys don't give the little guys food, and he's so tiny and hungry, and he has to do
But he
so many
loves
leg lifts.
These guys
sumo.
around in the ring.
What?
Like, how could a little guy go up against a big
He's
guy?
training.
How many of those leg squat lifts do you think you could do?
I mean,
They do 300 at a time.
the squats you see.
Is that
in
like
this
the ones
show-
that Becky we had to do in the training and I wouldn't do it? And you were like, I might think about doing this one day? Where you squat and lift a leg?
It's
lift one
Becky.
at a
Just
time,
keep
yeah.
going.
You
Trust
squat
me
down,
and
you
keep
lift one leg
going.
at a
At the
time.
end of the season, the training they do in like the last stretch of the show is insane. And what I read is that the sumo industry in Japan has criticized the show for not showing them
really?
being tough enough.
Yeah. I just have to say,
And
like,
that show is brutal.
Lily, they're doing 300 of these squat leg lifts at a time. I did 10 minutes of core and then I just lay down on my floor and cried today.
Aw. So they're not. So it's all muscle that we're seeing in their size.
No, I mean,
A large
they're
folk.
they have a lot of
Okay.
girth.
I feel
but
like
there's
we're
a lot.
getting into the weeds here on sumo.
Lily, just watch the show and you'll see because
Okay.
the size
But it was
of the
not
guys.
nominated for anything.
I don't know. It's really hard to tell what year things are nominated for. What I looked and it
Also,
said
the
that
show was in September, then it was in January one time, and then after because of the strike, and now like we just had them in January, right? Because of the strike, and now it's back in September.
yeah, September to May. Like someone make me a list. Academy. All right, Becky and Shai will be at Baltimore Comic Con today at the Baltimore Convention Center.
Amazing.
Come and visit us. Hopefully, you've seen it's today, even though we're recording this the day before. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing bits with everyone. We have some swag left. We don't have a new haul of swag, but we have some awesome swag left, and it's going to be great. Doing this, guys. Love you.
So exciting! What are you guys watching?
Yeah, I know. We never talk about what we're watching.
Oh, sorry.
I'm watching the new season of Slow Horses, and it's so good. The new season is so good.
It won best rating.
So good.
I'm watching.
Shai, I can't believe you're not watching Slow Horses. Now you have 4 seasons. We're in the 4th season. So now when you watch, you can just watch all of them. You don't have to wait year after year like the rest of us.
I'm watching Tokyo Vice on HBO.
Oh, how's that?
It's fantastic.
At this point, you're making up shows.
No, that's a show.
No, it's based on a book. It's about this Jewish American journalist.
Is he Jewish in the show?
Jewish in the show.
They take that part out.
No, they reference it here and there. But he was like the first, according to the way the story is framed, he's like the first American journalist to work for this particular Japanese newspaper. And he decides that he wants.
Oh, it looks cool. Never heard of
Gringotts. He did, and then
is that a Harry Potter reference? You're such a nerd.
No, it's because the money goblins in Harry Potter are like anti-Semitic.
Becky was just throwing shade at the anti-Semitism in Harry Potter.
So how is this like?
They're like the Jewish
nothing.
Money
Becky
goblins.
was just saying. Oh, he's a journalist and not a money goblin. That's so good.
He's Jewish.
Oh, gotcha. He's not a
guys, listeners. So. I am, for the record, in case you're new to the show, I'm Jewish, so I can talk about this very freely. If this is maybe your first time listener, you've caught us at Baltimore Comic Con. By the way, as a Jewish person, I could talk about the anti-Semitic money goblins of Harry Potter as much as I want.
So the show is really good, and so he decides that he wants to investigate the Yakuza, which is taboo to be investigated, and he gets in with this web of Yakuza and police, and it has Ken Watanabe, who's just an amazing actor, and then
that's cool.
Baby Driver is the main character, and I would not have thought based on Baby Driver I would love him that much as an actor, but wow, he's great.
Well, now that I'm waiting for season 2 of The Recruit, I'll watch Tokyo Vice. But I only want to watch season 2 of The Recruit with Mom. I feel like it would be so much more fun with her.
You can in Australia.
I hope it's out by then.
No, because you're going to be walking constantly and dodging dangerous animals. You think you're going to have time to watch shows on that trip?
Check your shoes.
I have a friend from Australia, and he warned me that, like, don't worry, where you're going, they have nets to catch the saltwater crocodiles so they don't eat you while you're swimming. I'm like, absolutely not.
Well, I'm like, I'm not going in the water, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, that sounds like a really cool show. Shai, did you freeze or are you just sitting
there? No. I just...
I feel like I'm in a polyamorous relationship and it's gotten out of hand.
Where's this going?
Like, I just am like, I need to like, call it. Like, I thought I was cool and I could do it, and now I'm like, no, I can't.
Who's Jose watching shows with?
I know. We have too many shows. Like, there's just it's too many at this point, and at this point we're not finishing any of them.
You need to pick one left.
I also think they need to be better.
I think really out of control.
I, for the first time in my life, have been dropping shows. If it's not good, for the first time in my life, I'm not finishing.
First of all, Shai, welcome to my side. Welcome.
No, I'm not
drop
quitting
shows all the time.
I want to.
Also, but it's what shows are you watching? I don't feel like there's enough content. Like, there's nothing good I want to watch.
Because everything I'm watching, you've already seen. Except right now. Like,
Becky, you could be watching the morning show.
Oh, no, I gave that up. I quit that after first season. I love Jay Aniston, but I just cannot watch that show. There's a lot of walking down hallways, and it's not as fun as Severance. So. It's like always walking somewhere and telling somebody something. It's annoying. But like Fallout, Lady in the Lake, Slow Horses.
Oh, I didn't see Lady.
I haven't seen any of those shows.
Fallout's great.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I finally finished The Boys. Thank God that I could check that. But now I feel like it's homework. I'm like, I got to check all these boxes. I'm like, I got to finish.
You know what? You should fly to Australia.
And then I'll have plenty of time.
One of the things I'm stressed about is that I won't have enough stuff to watch on the way to Australia because I'm not interested in enough things.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen is that there's going to be stuff that's on the screen that they offer you that you would never have normally watched, but then you'd be like, oh, I'll give this a try. And then you open yourself up to like maybe finding a cool new movie.
Also, you have to go down these old 70s and 80s movies I've been watching.
Yeah.
Like, watch the 1978 Avengers of the Body Snatchers. That movie's amazing.
On an airplane to Australia?
Why not? No one's going to body snatch you on the plane.
You don't know who my seatmate is.
Based on the rules of that movie, you could be body snatched on that plane. All right.
Exactly.
This has been a lot of fun.
All right.
Well, the next 2 episodes will be Baltimore related. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @FriNightMovie on all of the socials and visiting our website, FriNightMovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.